My job is taking care of houseplants. In this series, I'm going to show you exactly what we show our clients so that they can be successful with their houseplants. The first thing you have to consider is your light. You have to pair the right plant with the light that your house already naturally has. The more view of the sky that your plant has, the brighter light plant you can put there. If you have a super wide view of the sky like this, you can do ficus and philodendron and other bright light plants. You can never go wrong with snake plants. They can live in bright light, medium light, or low light. If you want a tree, go with a Dracaena. This is my favorite, the Dracaena Janet Craig compacta, but the Lisa is always really nice too. The Aglaonema are classics. They will even bloom in low light, and they come in lots of different colors and shapes and sizes. ZZ is easy. They also come in bigger sizes, but we only have small ones. The Golden Pothos is the classic. If you want a trailing low light plant, this is it. Always pot your plants with drainage holes, or keep it in a nursery pot, but place it in a plant as a drop-in cover like this. When you bring home your new plant, do these three things. Hey, I'm Tanner, and I take care of plants for a living. And this is part 2 of our beginner houseplant series. First, you want to take your plant and set it near a window where it can see some sky. The next thing you're going to do is wait. Don't do anything. Don't repot it. Don't water it. Just wait. What you're waiting for is the plant to wilt. It'll get a little bit droopy. The leaves will get very pliable and sort of wimpy. This happens, I want you to pick the plant up and get used to the weight of the plant when it wilts. How heavy is it when the plant starts to wilt? This is going to give you a good indication of when the plant needs to be watered. Another great thing to do is to stick your finger down into the soil. You can use a chopstick or a knitting needle, something like that, and see how far down into the pot is moisture. So for example, this plant is wilted. Is there moisture 50% down or 75% down? Then you know that you're gonna want to water it right before it gets to that point. So if this plant wilts when it's about a third of the way dry, I want to water it when it's about 25% dry or a quarter of the way dry, because you don't want your plant to wilt before you water it every time. You want to catch it right before that wilt.
This is my super not fancy way of watering plants. Tip 1, I fill up my blender with lukewarm water. For all of my smaller plants, I fill up these plastic containers with a couple inches of water, and I allow them to soak up the moisture through the drainage holes in the bottom of the pot. You should always test the moisture levels first by sticking your finger in the soil, and nothing will stick to your finger if it's dry. Since these plants are much larger, I'm going to water them from the top, slowly and evenly saturating the soil. You'll notice I almost used an entire blender full of water for these larger plants. For my Monstera, I like to water it by filling up the drip tray at the bottom all the way to the top, and then the drainage hole in the pot allows the moisture to get in. Oh, oops. Now I'm gonna mop this up, and for the rest of the plants, I'm just gonna pour a little bit in the top. This cactus doesn't need it because they like to dry out 100% in between waterings, and there's still some.
Here are the 10 most commonly asked questions I get about Monsteras answered. These vining plants that love to climb are generally sought after for their fenestrated leaves. They like bright and direct light, but not direct. Too direct, it will burn. Not bright enough, you won't get the fenestration. You'll want to water when the first half of the pot is dry, so depending on the size of your plant, that could be every 10 to 14 to 18 days. Like most tropical plants, they love their humidity, and you'll want to fertilize them only during their growth season about once a month. Baby leaves will tend to come in without any slits, and then as they grow bigger and more towards the light, they will start to develop their splits. They can handle a good trim, so don't be shy about removing any discolored or distorted leaf. You don't want the plant's energy going towards maintaining that, and it can actually encourage new growth. Like see, I cut this here, and now look at this. They prefer to be a little bit more snug in the pot, and too big of a pot can actually cause issues. You'll want to wipe down your leaves at least once a month with a damp cloth so dust doesn't collect and block light absorption. Oops, I'm out of time, folks. I'll have to do another video.
I don't know who needs to hear this. You guys know when a leaf on your plant goes yellow or brown or crispy or dies, that it will never come back to life. It will never turn green again, and even brown marks on your plant will always be there. The leaf cannot restore itself once there's damage. Losing leaves is perfectly natural to your plant's entire life cycle and health. When you notice that one of your leaves have gone yellow, it's great maintenance to remove it. This helps your plant give energy to the healthy leaves instead of the unhealthy leaf sucking energy away. Just cut as close to the stem as you can or gently pull it off. You don't want these to just fall into the soil. It's not like an outdoor garden where dead leaves compost. You want to get these out of the plant so that you can keep the environment super sanitary and it doesn't attract any bacteria. RIP.
Hey guys, today I'm back with another plant hacks video. In this one, I'm going to be talking about begonias. Did you know that this begonia originated from South America? This is a Begonia coccinea. They are also commonly known as angel wing begonias. Can you tell why? This is what a new leaf will look like when coming in. If they are placed in too bright of sun, the leaves will burn like this. I'm betting that a lot of you didn't know this, but begonias actually bloom flowers. This is a rare occurrence. Begonias are very picky when blossoming. Provide your begonia with lots of bright and indirect light. This will increase the likelihood of your plant blossoming. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Brandon the Plant Guy, and here are 3 helpful tips for your houseplants. Plants will naturally grow towards the light. So every so often you want to rotate your plants to make sure you get a nice even and bushy plant. Tip 2, buy a moisture meter for your plants if you're prone to overwatering. They tell you whether your plant is moist or not. All you have to do is stick them into the soil to the base where the roots are, and it will give you a reading. Tip number 3, pots without drainage holes are not a good idea because they can cause root rot when your plant sits in the excess water and there's nowhere for it to go. Instead, always try to look for a pot with a drainage hole. It'll allow your plants to breathe and let them drain properly. Follow me on TikTok for more plant care videos.
5 plants that will do absolutely amazing in low light. First up, we have the ZZ plant, resilient and you can water once every 2 weeks. Next up, we got the snake plant. Super low maintenance, this one's propagated. I don't see any roots, but it's still looking good. Then we have our lucky bamboo. Also propagated, but if it's in dirt, leave it moist but not too wet. Next up, we got the pothos. All around an amazing plant to have. There's a mama plant in the back. And finally, our Janet Craig compacta. These plants are great for offices.
One of the easiest ways to keep your plants healthy is to never put them in pots that are too big. I like to just go about 1 inch or 2 bigger than the previous pot size. That way the roots have access around the pot and can absorb water, and it's never staying too wet, allowing pathogens to form.